Alright, well here's that piston after hitting it with the wire wheel. And you can see it when that spark plug came apart, it pitted the shit out of it. And it scored it up pretty good right there. So I am not going to reuse this piston. Now there's a CD right here. And that tells you also what size piston it is. So let me go through my pile of stuff and see if I have one the same size. So we'll be back. Okay, my box of treasures. I found another piston with a CD on it. It does have one little scratch. Oh no, my fingernail doesn't catch that. It's fine. So I got that one. And I will show you how I take the wrist pin out. Alright, well I got tired of looking for it, so there's a little indent here. What I like to do is just kind of rotate the ring so a little bit is past it. And then you just stick this in here and get the ring to pop up like so. Whoa! Don't lose the ring. Ah. And then you just, sometimes you gotta take a socket. 14's too big. 12 will be just right. Give it a little tappy tap. Shit. Don't drop the rod. Okay. And on the new piston, same thing. Rotate that around. Get underneath the pin or clip. Oh, come on, you fucker. Voila. Okay, now remember this little deal right here goes forward, points to the front. There's a little dot right there on the piston, points to the front. So you know which way you're going to put this in. Let's put a little bit of lube in there. So that guy and that guy. Put a little bit of lube in there. You just kind of guide her in. Voila. Tab, dot, good to go. Then you take your ring and you kind of just Squeeze it back in there. Now some pistons come with these things called spiral locks. I call them spiral assholes because they are impossible. Let's see here. Do I have a universal tool out here? I don't. The universal tool, screwdriver. Just kind of voila. Perfect. All right, so that's number 4. We'll clean up the rest of them. And oh, let me show you. Okay, so we'll go no bearing. All right. So let's take the rings out. Just kind of walk them right on out. I probably didn't need to replace these rings, but with that slightly lower compression and everything, just it doesn't hurt to, yeah, there's the gap. Just replace them. Okay, just like that. And then I'll hit the tops of the wire wheel, clean the sides out. Add that piston to my Hall of Shame. So make sure you wear safety glasses. Just getting all the rough stuff off the top. Clean out the valve reliefs. Get the skirts real light, because I'm going to get those with the Scotch-Brite. Just real light. Don't have to push hard. And then I'll touch it up with the Scotch-Brite. And here's where I get my other tool, my poker tool. So a lot of shit likes to build up right here in the oil ring. So I use this tool to just kind of knock it out. Just like that. And then I poke out all the oil holes, make sure they're nice and clean. If you can see that. Yeah, see, it just kind of cakes in there. It's in the groove. Now the other trick to do this is use an actual ring. You take a ring and you break it, and you just run it right through here and clean all this shit out. But these pistons really aren't that bad. Okay, looks good. Sometimes you can get the Scotch-Brite in there. Get some of this carbon out of here. Beautiful. Nice piston, huh? That's why you wear eye protection. I go through a lot of brake cleaner. Oh. Alright, 2 down. 2 to go. We'll be back. Alright, pistons are all cleaned off. Let's start putting the rotating assembly together. Alright, so come out of there, you bugger. Oh, smooth as butter. Alright, so rotate the assembly so that the crank is down. We'll start with number 1 here. This is number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And to check the ring gaps, okay, so when you buy a set of OEM piston rings, this is what you get. Let's make some room here. It's going to tell you right there. Ring number 1. Ring number 2. Oh, oil ring. And ring number 2. There's going to be a little mark on the ring that indicates up. So let's just start with ring number 1. Okay, there, you see that? Right there's a little T. That means up. So what we're going to do is put the ring in, just like that. You take your piston, and I like to go right down. What's going on here? Right there, to that depth. Actually, I went a little deeper than I wanted to. Let's come back up a little. Go right there. And you get your feeler gauges. Feeler gauges, feeler gauges. And let's see what the book says. I'm not going to use that again. The piston ring. Okay, install piston connecting rod assemblies. Ring gap. Okay, install piston rings. Facing upward. Do not align the rings. Ring gap. Now, I've been building these engines for a long time, and I've never had OEM off-the-shelf rings be too tight. It really doesn't say what the ring gap should be. Rod caps. Just does not say. Oh, wait a minute, here we go. Piston ring end gap. Inspect oil clearance. Yeah, I got all that. Using a feeler gauge, measure the clearance between new piston ring and the wall of the ring groove. 12 to 28 thou. The ring clearance is not. No. That is the wall of ring groove. That's not what we want. Here we go. Ring end gap. Standard end gap. Insert the piston ring. Using a piston, push the piston a little beyond the ring travel from the top of the cylinder. Using a feeler gauge. Let's see. So 10 thou or 1 what? 0.00. Yeah. Wow. 1 thou to 13 thou. And 13 to 19 thou. That is crazy. But look at the maximum. We're talking 41 thou and 47 thou. That's the maximum the gap can be. Okay, so number 1 should be, actually, yeah, that would be 10 thou to 13 thou. So let's just start with the 10 thou. And it slips right in. And we'll go to 13 thou. And that slips right in. So like I said, they're always, I've never had them tight. Okay, so that's the number 1. Now, let's try the number 2. there's our little T. Oh man, I could see that gap. And you can see in there, you see the size of that gap. That gap's got to be, well, 20 goes right through it. 30 goes right through it. It's a big fucking gap. Okay, 35 doesn't go through it, so it's between 30 and 35, which is good enough. Because, let's see, what's the max? The max gap is 47. So, okay. Alright, so the trick to this is you put the oil rings on first. So you start with these little guys, and they just slip right on in there. Now, I like to have that way. And you take one oil ring and you put it on the bottom. Let's see, so the red is where the gap is. So I'm going to put this kind of right there. And walk it around. And then I'm going to put the other one over here. Let's see what the book says. The book actually gives a diagram for where the rear, lower side, upper side, front. So here's the front. So we have the lower side, we'll put the upper side over here. Just walk it on around. Voila. Okay, now number 2 ring wants the gap right here. So we'll take ring number 2, and then our mark right there, the number T, and right here. So we're going to put that gap right there. And we'll just kind of walk it on in. And try not to drag it along the side of the piston. Right there. And then the number 1 we'll put up in this corner. Easy peasy. Alright, we'll be right back and we'll put them in on the crankshaft. Okay, we're back. So, tang on the bearing, line them up. Add a little bit of lube. Okay. Remember, thing goes forward, dot forward, piston is down, rings are all where we want them. So the trick to this is you get your spring compressor, put it around there, you tighten this baby down. And you line the piston up. Now if you had a real good quality spring compressor, not a piece of shit like this one, see, it's supposed to latch and lock in place, but no such luck. Piece of shit. So, it's not the best way to do it, but it works. Take your universal tool, maybe even this poker, and just make sure the ring is pushed in all around. Same with this one. Just get it pushed in. I'm kind of pushing down on the piston. Look at that. Voila. Then you go all the way down. Top bottoms out on the crank. Roll her on over. Clean off the rod cap. Now there's markings on the side here, if you see them, that line up, but also tab, no tab. Same situation. But there's also little pins right here, line up with that. Pins, so you know which way it goes. And let's see what the torque spec for these babies is. Let's see here. Rod bolts, rod cap bolts, 2ZZ, 22 foot-pounds, and then 90 degrees. 22 and 90, huh? Just gonna put a little bit on there, not as much as I did on the mains. Just a little. And where's my 12mm again? Let's see here. 12mm. I'll probably use it over here to push that piston out. Yep, there it is. Nope, that's the flat 6-point. Why can't I ever find the tools I'm looking for? It's probably I think I should be done with this. Oh, still on the torque bar. Alright, so what does it say? 22. Okay, that felt good. Alright. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rest in, and then I'll do the 90 on all of them at one time. Turns nice and smooth. Very good, very good. All the rotating assembly is connected. Everything turns nice and happy. All right. I think the next step will be to put the bottom end stuff on. Oh, I got to put these plugs in. All right, let's see here. Let's just start with this here. The windage tray. That baby goes right there. And the oil pickup tube. See that dent? That's from that oil pan being pushed in. That's what I was talking about. When the oil pan's pushed in, it pushes in on the bottom here like that, and then it blocks this. Then you starve it for oil. Not good. Now the nice thing about this 2ZZ engine, all these gaskets are metal. They're reusable. No problem using those babies again. Alright, let's see here. Set the oil pump out of the way. What's in here? Those are the oil pump screws. I'll replace that. Okay, just so you know, when you ever put one of these together, this one bolt with these two little doohickeys on there is this guy. That's the only one in this engine. It looks like this. It goes right there. Two bolts with captive washers. They go right there. And the canuts. Alright, get my highly calibrated 10mm. Torque is not a lot on these. Doesn't take a lot. You know, that's about it. When one hand gets tight, that's all it needs. And you'll feel it. It just gets tight. It doesn't want to go anymore. That's all it needs. Okay, let's clean these bad boys up. Loctite. Probably don't need it because these are more just like caps. Let's see, where's that? I flying out. It's barely hooked up so that you guys can get the better view. Ooh, that's a regular. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay, ready to put the oil pan on. And I didn't clean it with the pressure washer, it's sitting down there. So I'll come back when I get it all cleaned up. All right, got the oil pan cleaned up. Got the dents knocked out of it. Let's put some jizz on it. I cleaned these up already on the wire wheel. With, you know, putting too much on and then it gets loose inside and clogs the pickup. Never had that issue. Just do it like I was. All right, let's put an oil filter on just to clean up the bottom. And the short block is done. And the 2ZZ uses a YZZ F1. You can actually use the same filter on a 1ZZ. Won't hurt a thing. There's already some pre-lube on there. Hand tight. Just like that. All right, the bottom end is done.